Okay, let's look at some different things on here that I think are helpful. For instance, here if you get stuck in the next few weeks and you want to see how to do something, there are in-depth how-to videos here. You can click on anything that tells you how to do it, and I like it because it just walks you through. Another thing is the on-demand webinars. I'm signed up for one on Thursdays because there's actually a lot of new stuff on here that I haven't used yet, and so I'm going to learn about that on Thursday. So if you have any questions after that, let me know, and I'll let you know what I learned. I'm going to go ahead and I want you to go ahead and launch your classroom, and we're going to just look quickly at a few other things, and then we're going to get away from these videos and get started on playing around and see the questions that you guys might have. So there's settings right here on the left-hand side, and these settings here will provide for you to make sure you have your class code that you need for different things. I think if you share it with another teacher in another classroom, you would need that. You can put in your co-teacher here. All you gotta do is add. So if you have 1, 2, 3, that way you guys can all access, all the different students. So that's good there. And then there's some other settings. So if you want the voice read aloud, you can turn it on. The students can play and listen to the content during a practice. And then here is something kind of nice. If a student answered incorrectly, maybe you want them to retry one more time. Maybe you want to start off with that at the beginning of the year, maybe you want to change it at the end. Maybe give immediate feedback if answered incorrectly, and I like that one there. I tend to change the one retry about, halfway through the year because they really don't tend to need it by then, but it's good in the beginning. If you get to a point where you find kids not trying for that retry either, you can award coins for the retry. So that'll work. Over here is the student access. So here's avatars. The kids get to choose, the students choose an avatar. I don't see a reason to not let them access that. These other 3 things, you might find a reason to limit access, and you can do that by 1 student or by all. So you can do all students, or you can limit 1 student. And you can do it from times, or you can do it all the time. So if somebody's done something that they aren't allowed to do, that could be a way of limiting that access. And these shout outs are like a little thing that says, oh, good job, you did great on that one, and just kind of talking back and forth, and I think they enjoy doing that as well. So 2 other places I want you to see settings before we talk more about Scootpad and how you can use it in your classroom. Under Math and ELA, I'm not sure under spelling, I don't think anywhere, oh yeah, ebooks too, you'll see these settings. So everything has settings to it. So you'll want to make sure you go and do all the settings before you set up everything else. So the ebooks, this has changed from year to year, so this is a kind of a constant change for me. But you can start off by the level that you want to assign. Maybe you don't want them to go lower than a J, and you want it assigned to all students. Actually, it says all students have access to all of them to limit a student to a specific. So maybe you want your whole class to do a level J at the beginning of the year. Or maybe you want them all to do something else. You can do that. If you want a certain child to only read level K books, then you can do that too. If you look, see? And if you make a mistake, you can just erase that one. And then there's customizable quizzes using 4 question prompts. So you can just do like a general quiz on those settings too. Now, Math and ELA settings. Here, this is where I went ahead on math. Mine was set to manual, so I must assign the concepts. You can do where it's fully automated and they just do self-paced learning paths. The proficiency goal, yours probably set at 80%. I go to 70. I think 70%. If you look at some of these lessons, they're pretty difficult, and I found a 70% passing rate is pretty good. On my math, I would probably, didn't mean to do that. For questions per concept, I do about 15 to 20. And then tier 1 is the percentage of the percent for the students. So, for instance, if they score a 40%, then they're going to go into the tier 1 interventions, and then I can reassign. You can bump that up if you want to 50. You just kind of play around and decide, are you getting a lot of tier 1 kids? And I'll show you that later. So after you've saved that one, then you want to go to the ELA and do the settings there. I'm almost done. I've already done mine here. Again, like I said, I like it at 70%. Again, it just to me is a passing rate, and I usually make them do that a couple times before they can move on. Questions about 15 to 20 per concept, and then tier 1 about 50%. So now that you got all the settings done, I'm going to sign off here, and we're going to go have some fun with all the rest of the stuff.